Moe, and I'm going to be talking about the marine parks and aquariums like SeaWorld. Have you guys been to SeaWorld at all? I'm not going to ruin your childhood memories, but my main proposition is that SeaWorld and other marine parks and aquariums are not treating their marine animals humanely. So I'm just going to lay out the claims that I have to back that up. According to PETA, the marine animals that are captured from the wild are harmed in the process, mentally and physically. They're torn apart from their families. They're really social creatures, and many are injured or even killed from that catching process. Another claim I have from PETA is that the captive marine animals experience stress and anxiety and boredom. According to National Geographic, orcas swim about 100 miles a day, and they can't do that in their tanks, in their tiny tanks. Also, captive orcas experience dental problems because trying to get free from the tanks, they bite at the iron and stuff like that. Also, another claim I have for PETA is that captive marine animals are prone to be in fights than those in the wild. The National Geographic states that dolphins and orcas are social creatures, and they have groups of up to 40 individuals. They're called pods, and they all have their own rules, their own culture, even their own language. And when you bring one orca into another orca and put them in a tiny tank, they're going to have fights. Also, PETA explained that marine animals at SeaWorld specifically have a poor diet. In the wild, orcas and dolphins, they hunt and they feed on prey. They get their nutrients from the prey. They also get water from the prey. And of course, they can't do that in their tanks. So to keep them hydrated, they feed them gelatin, which basically has pig and cow bones in them. Not only are the animals endangered, the people are endangered as well. The trainers and the staff experience a lot of aggression from the orcas because they are full of stress. There are more than 100 cases of orca aggression, but in the wild it is very unlikely for them to harm any people. The aggression is likely caused by the stress of being deprived of everything that is natural to them. A final claim that I would like to say is that captive orcas are not living as long as they are compared to the wild. You would think that they're in the tank, they have no predators, no natural disasters or stuff like that, but the statistic shows wrong. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, wild male orcas live as long as 50 to 60 years, and females live as long as 100 years. Now, a study published by the Marine Mammal Science, the average lifespan of captive orcas in the US are only 12 years. Globally, it's only 6.1 years. According to the records from the Marine Mammal Inventory, run by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, they basically keep records of orcas and other marine animals when they were first introduced in 1961. So they calculated about 201 captive orcas, and in those, only about 63% died in captivity, and they didn't last 6 years at all. Around only 8 of those 200 survived past their 30th year. So obviously, the animals are not in good care. They have poor diet, they stress, they're in pain from fights, they die. The statistics show that in the wild versus in captivity only 6.1 years versus up to 100 years. So in conclusion, SeaWorld and other marine parks or aquariums are not treating these beautiful marine animals humanely. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the proposition's clearly identified, although I think the issue of humanely is maybe a value issue. The argument that they are harmed in some way, that there is their lifespans are shortened, there are negative consequences to them. I think that might be a better way of expressing that particular proposition. There's not a preview of what the secondary claims are at the beginning of the speech, so that's a little bit problematic. I think you've got two or maybe three or four supporting points. I ought to be able to pick them out, and they should be pretty distinct. You signposted reasonably well in the body of the speech. I mean, I could tell what some of the secondary claims were. There's an issue about stress. There's an issue about fighting. There's an issue about something wrong with their food. The issue about stress, I think that was a little bit thin when it came to proof. The issue about fighting, for instance, it's based on a presupposition which you don't provide any evidence for, and then you don't have any data to back that up. So I thought that was a little bit problematic. I'm not exactly sure what's bad about the gelatin with the food and with the meat and the bones in it. I assume that they eat stuff with meat and bones in it. So why is that problematic? It's not quite clear. The staff issue. It's a little generic, 100 cases of orca aggression. I don't know what constitutes that. I think that that's a little bit underdeveloped. And the captive orcas and their lifespan, that was the argument that I thought you did the best job developing, and it's the one that you used the best evidence on. I'm very suspect of PETA as an organization based on their political philosophy and their approach to things. I think they're a little bit suspect. I thought you were doing better when you were citing the National Geographic and the NOAA. I thought that those would probably be a lot more credible sources. And especially on that last point about longevity, I thought you had excellent information on that point, and your source seems to be highly credible there. Like I said, everything else, though, was a little bit underdeveloped when it came to proof. I thought you did have a very effective summary, and I like the exit line, although, again, you're kind of focusing on the value element rather than the harm to the animals in particular. All right, thank you.